good afternoon, good evening. Those of you on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, and Spotify. I'm TK34 on Spotify, and this is Biblical Marriage Wednesday. Yes. Let us pray. Oh, most holy Sanini Nanini, we ask you to deal with our hearts and minds, deal with our dreams, deal with our interacting with other humans, especially those that would be our mate and of the opposite gender. Yes, not by man's definition, but by birth. And we thank you for all that you've done. We thank you for your mercy. And we ask you to help these things that we're about to say and do to help someone and help us to see ourselves in the people we're about to examine. And we thank you for all these things. Yes. The book of Tobit. A little background on Tobit. We're going to break and, pause and all kind of stuff here. Tobias. Tobias was this is in the Apocrypha. You can get that, you can buy the Apocrypha by itself. You can get it on Amazon. You can also read it online. Right now I got an online book of Tobit so I can see it better, but this is the Apocrypha right here. It has a whole lot of books. That is a little red book, but it has a whole lot of powerful sayings in it. And the book of Tobit, chapter 1, it says, Tobias of the tribe of Naphtali. This is what tribe he was in. He was actually an Israelite, which is in the upper parts of Galilee above Niason, beyond the way that leadeth to the west, having on the right hand of the city of Sephet. Now, when he was made captive in the days of Salmanazar, that's what it is, Salmanazar. When he was made captive in the days of Salmanazar, the king of the Assyrians, even in his captivity, forsook not the way of truth. Now, many of us, we have taken on the way of the victor. We've taken on the way of the colonizer. We've taken away on those who take the words and have, done their thing. Now, he said, but every day gave all he could to his brethren, his fellow captives, that were his kindreds. In verse 4, he says, when he was younger than any tribe, he was younger than any of the tribe of Naphtali, yet did he no childish thing in his work. Moreover, when all went to the golden calves which Jeroboam king of Israel had made, he alone fled to the company of all, and went to Jerusalem to the temple of the I Am, and adored the I Am, God of Israel, or Jacob, offering faithfully all his first fruits and his tithes. I ain't talking about no tithes that you give to your church. That ain't even biblical. Really, that's an abomination. So that first fruits and his tithes, so that in the third year he gave all his tithes to the proselytes and strangers, converts and strangers. That's a little bit about him. We're going to go down. Now, again, he had his wife. Now, it says, but after this, there was a festival of the I Am, as a good dinner was prepared in Tobias' house. And he said to his son, go bring us of our tribe, some of our tribe that fear God, to feast with us. In other words, it was a feast. Probably was the harvest feast. And so we go a little further. Now, he had a wife named Anna in verse 19. Now, this is Tobias and Anna. Anna was his wife. Okay, Anna was his wife. And they went daily. This woman was awesome. Now, Anna, his wife, went daily to the weaving work, and she brought what she could get for their living by the labor of her hands, whereby it came to pass she received a young kid and brought it home, a young goat. And her husband heard it bleeding, and he said, take heed, lest perhaps it be stolen. Restore it to its owners, for it is not lawful for us to either eat or to touch anything that cometh by theft. There we go again. See, it ain't no ifs, ands, and buts. It's about righteousness. Why are you going to buy things you know that have been stolen? See, even Tobias knew this, and this was during the time of Nebuchadnezzar. At these words, his wife, being angry, answered, "It is evident thy hope has come to nothing, and thy alms now appear." And with these and none of the such words, she upbraided him. Then Tobias sighed and began to pray with tears, saying, "Thou art just, O the I am, and all thy judgments are just, and all thy ways are mercy and truth. Think of me." He said, "Oh, the I am that I am, think of me, not to take not revenge on my sins, neither remember my offenses, nor those of my parents." See, these are the prayers that we need to pray. Okay, now we're going to go ahead on to, we're in chapter 4. Let's go on chapter 5. And he had a son named Tobias. He answered his father and said, "I will do all things, Father, which thou hast commanded me, but how shall I get this money?" See, his father was telling him to go collect some money to do the things that he had to do. If somebody, he lent some money and he wanted to come back, and he had to tell him. He said, "I cannot tell," in verse 2. He don't know me. I don't know him. What token shall I give him? Now, we go a little bit further. So we jumping and skipping here to try to expedite some time. And he says, now, here we go again. He said, "Then all the things being ready were to be carried in their journey. Tobias bade his father and his mother farewell. He's going to collect the money from the man that his father told him to collect them from. And when they were departed, his mother began to weep and say, 'Now thou hast the staff in our old age, and sent him away from us. I wish the money for which thou hast sent him had never been.'" Now, that's a mother for you. Yes. "And the poverty was sufficient for us, that we might account it as riches, that we saw our son. And Tobias said unto her, Weep not. Our son will arrive thither safe, and he will return safe to us, and thy eyes shall see him. For I believe that the good angel of God," this is where he's coming at. We got to have some faith, or should I say confidence in God. Yes. Now, will accompany him. Now, this is something really, really interesting. He says, "Now, and doth order all things well that are done." See, this is what a prayer life, a man's prayer life does. Tobias, his father had a very good prayer life, even though he was blind in his eyes. He had a prayer life, and he had a faith in God. He gave alms to the poor, and even to those who were converted unto Israel. Now, these words, his mother ceased weeping and held her peace, because she knew this was a praying man. Okay? Now, and Tobias went forth, and a dog followed him, and he lodged first night by the river Tigris. And he went, excuse me, to wash his feet, and behold, a monstrous fish came up to devour him. And Tobias, being afraid of him, cried out with a loud voice, saying, "Sir, he cometh upon me." And the angel said to him, "Take him by the gill." And the angel said to him, "Take him by the gill, and draw him to thee." And when he had done so, he drew him out upon the land, and he began to pant before his feet. That's something. A fish, an ugly fish. Have you ever caught an ugly fish before? It make your heart beat. Then the angel said, "Take out the entrails, take out the guts of the fish, and lay it upon his heart, and his gall, and his liver, and for thee. These are necessary and useful for medicines." Now, this was a certain fish. I don't know what kind of fish this was, but this fish was useful for medicine. And he roasted the flesh thereof, and they took it with them in the way, and the rest they salted with much as might have served them, till they came to rages of the city of the Medes. And then Tobias asked the angel, said to him, "I beseech thee, brother Azarias," he thought he was another guy, "telling me what remedy." See, this is where Paul says, sometimes some of you entertain angels unaware. You don't know who you're talking to. "Which thou bidst me keep of the fish." And the angel answering said unto him, "If thou put a piece of his heart upon coals and smoke thereof, and driveth away all kind of devils." Now, some of you will say, "Oh, that's witchcraft." No. If God smelled the smoke burning from the meat, how much more can his spirits smell the smoke coming or even evil spirits. Spirits smell smoke. Spirits smell the savor of smoke. Okay? And the gall is good. He says, now, from the man, from the woman, so that they come no more to them. And the gall is good for anointing the eyes in which there is a white speck. He's talking about glaucoma. Now, they shall be cured. And Tobias said to him, where wilt thou that we lodge? And the angel answered, here is one of whose name is Raguel, his near kinsman by the tribe, and he has a daughter named Sarah. But he hath no son, nor another daughter beside her. All his substance is due thee, and thou must take her to wife. He said, you're going to take this woman to wife. So this angel knew what Sarah was going through. So then Tobias answered and said, I hear she hath been given to 7 husbands. In other words, he knew the story. But they all died. Moreover, I've heard that a devil killed them. Now I'm afraid, lest the same thing should happen to me. Whereas I am the only child of my parents, I should bring down that old age with sorrow to hell. And the angel Raphael said unto him. Now Raphael is found also, the name Raphael is also found in the book of Enoch. And this is where the ties with this book, they cause this book to be one of the apocryphal books. But it's also tied into the book of the prophets. Hear me, or should I say King, 1st and 2nd Kings. Now when I will show thee who they are, over whom the devil can prevail. For they who in such manner receive matrimony as to shut out God from themselves and from their mind, and to give themselves to their lust as the horse and the mule, which have not understanding over them, the devil hath power. But when thou shalt take her and go into the chamber, and for 3 days keep thyself continent from her. In other words, don't lay with her. See, the ones who have done this, they're their husbands and they laid with her, and so they were killed by the devil that was around this woman, making her life miserable. Now he says, keep thyself continent from her and give thyself to nothing else but prayers with her. He said, don't do nothing with this woman but pray. Now some of you, all you want to do, you want to lay in the bed with the woman, you want to do all this, but why not just pray with the woman? If you're a woman and if you're a man and you're proving this woman and everything, just pray with her, fast with her, call on God with her, create a relationship. Yes, create a relationship with her, that God might be glorified in this thing. I've made my mistakes in my life, and some of these things I've done, and some of these things I haven't done. Now on that night they lay with the liver of the fish on the fire, and the devil shall be driven away. On the night lay the liver of the fish on the fire, and the devil shall be driven away. But the 2nd night thou shalt be admitted into the society of the holy patriarchs. In other words, the holy fathers. And the 3rd night thou shalt obtain a blessing, that sound children may be born to you. And when the 3rd night pass, thou shalt take the virgin with fear of the I am, moved rather for love of the children than for lust, than the seed of Abraham, that thou mayest obtain a blessing in children. You see how God does things? You say God gonna give you God can send you a husband. You might have so bad things happen to you with husbands, they left you, they went mad, they were crazy or whatever, but the fact is God can correct this thing if you do things the right way. Even as Tobias, young man, middle-aged man, do those things that are right before God, and God will he can give you that wife. He can give you that one who nobody says is no good, or they think she's crazy or whatever. It might be something else, but you have to seek God in all things. In Philippians 4, 6, and 7, what? Be anxious for nothing, but in all things by prayer with supplication let your requests be made known unto God, and the peace of God shall keep your hearts and minds. Yes. And with that, I'm going to say, peace.